let's make a start. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining the call. We've got quite a long agenda, but we're going to start with a presentation from Callie, who runs a project called the Glasshouse project. I met Callie about 18 months ago, I think, first time we met, and I was absolutely blown away by the work that Callie and her team do with ex-offenders in interior landscaping. Done some fantastic project work, which I visited a few sites in a variety of places. The motivation of the women that I met was unbelievable. I don't think I've met as many interesting and motivated people learning the ropes of interior landscaping as I have with the Glasshouse, and I have to say they are some of the nicest people I've met in a long time as well. So I'm really glad that Callie's able to talk to us this morning, talk about the project and talk about the benefits for our industry in employing ex-offenders, and the general good work that the project does and the way that they're progressing. So I'm going to hand over to Callie to talk and to Joanna to present the slides, and take it away.
Thank you, Kenneth. Kenneth has been such an important part of what we've done in the last couple of years, and I don't think we could have made it without him. So we're very appreciative to his expertise and insights as we've been. But maybe I'll start just by giving you an introduction about how we started, and then we'll talk a little bit about what's happened since then. So in 2019, my co-founder and partner, Melissa Murdoch, was working and visiting HMP East Sutton Park in Kent, and had noticed that the primary problem that the prison and the women were facing was reestablishing them after they finished their prison sentence back in society, and housing and employment were very tricky. And so she kind of had been helping and volunteering and doing some work at the prison along those lines, but had noticed that there wasn't really kind of a big picture plan for how to address that problem, and noticed that the glasshouses there were not in use, and felt like there was a space and an opportunity there to do something that would address that issue. The lack of housing and employment is the primary cause of reoffending. And so if we could address that issue through an industry or through work, then we had hoped to kind of look at that. So she came to me and asked me about it. I thought it was a little bit out of my comfort zone, but we started doing some research, and we landed on the plantscaping, internal plant installation and maintenance business. And we realized it was such an amazing growing industry. And also it was a very positive industry for women who may have had chaotic past to work in and to become trained in. And so we started looking at that industry and realized that it would work really well. So our plan that we presented to the MOJ included a proposal to start training and employing the women from HMP Sutton Park in that industry, in houseplant nurturing, houseplant potting, houseplant installation and maintenance in the corporate environment. And that was kind of where we started. And we went in, and MOJ loved the idea of a kind of industry working with it, kind of getting women ready for that particular industry whilst they're actually in prison. And so we started in February of 2020. And we were there about a month before COVID happened. So we didn't get very far, obviously, in that first month. We had our first cohort on board, excuse me, and they were very excited. And so we didn't want to lose our momentum. And we looked at what our options were. The prison gave us permission to keep working in the glasshouses throughout COVID, which was wonderful. But obviously there were no kind of office installations or hotel installations for us to practice with or work on. And so we did the training, and we started working on the training a bit, but we really needed kind of a commercial angle as well. And so we basically started sending out plants, smaller plants. We started nurturing and growing smaller plants, which we sent out through the mail. And we went to corporations and we sent those as corporate gifts. And we also started our web shop where anyone can buy them on our web shop. And all throughout COVID, our first cohort was able to keep working in the glasshouses with us and continue their horticultural training and basically nurture and prepare those plants and then package and ship those out, which was a really brilliant project for us during that period. And really, the women talked so highly of it, how it saved them basically and made their life so much more valuable. Not only were they using that time when most people in prison were really very isolated and had very little activity, they were actually in training and benefiting from being in the glass houses, working with the plants. So that's how we started. In 2021, when really COVID was lifted fully, we started to look at doing more training, which is about the time we found Kenneth on the installation and maintenance side of the business. And we had our first project, which was from the conduit in London. And we looked at kind of learning, using that as an example for the women to learn about how to pot, how to prepare, how to install and maintain the plants. And that was a brilliant first project. And we still work on that now, which is great. So I'll just, the second slide is perfect. So as I said, at the moment, our focus is to cut reoffending through training and employment. And we prepare women who are currently in prison for employment in the horticulture industry. Now, most of our women are trained specifically for indoor plants and house plants. However, we have had quite a few women who have chosen to go into outdoor landscaping and outdoor gardening, and we've placed them in employment in different types of harder landscaping opportunities, which is great as well. And we actually have had the opportunity to do small outdoor spaces. We do some window boxes for one client, and we also do some smaller gardens for some of our clients, which is great. And the women love doing that as well. Okay, about 18 women, 20 women through our program, and we have cohorts of between 6 and 10 come through. They spend anywhere from 6 months to a year with us. During that period, we basically train them in horticulture. They get a horticulture qualification, depending on the amount of time and the level they're able to reach. It can be level 1 or level 2. Some women get a certificate. It kind of depends on their ability and interest, and also what their plans are. But our training is really focused on the houseplants that we have in our facility and working with those. They maintain all of our different specimens of houseplants that we still send out through the mail and as corporate gifts. So we have quite a lot of smaller plants that we're nurturing and maintaining and propagating. And then when we do have the opportunity to use the bigger plants, which is approximately once a month, we bring in bigger plants for them to learn about and propagate and learn about pot and put in place. And so this is it's a really great training opportunity for them, but also it's a great environment for them to work on. It's very supportive of them, and it deals with whatever special needs they might have and kind of builds up their confidence and their ability to really re-enter the workforce. From the beginning, each woman works with our head of social impact, Maria Love, and sets up a resettlement plan. And so from the very first day, they start working towards their basically leaving us. And that includes housing, it includes employment. It also includes things like children, if they have children in care, or if they're taking over custody of their child again or want to, any legal needs they may have. We look at kind of the scope of what's going to affect their successful resettlement, and we try to address those in that process when we have them. I would say that there are probably half of our women that we've had through our program are still working in horticulture of some sort, which is brilliant. And others have gone on. The skills they've gained from us have still been valuable. They've gone into retail or hospitality, and they've still managed to really benefit from what they learned from us in terms of customer service and also just organization and logistics and kind of technology as well. Okay, we'll go to the next for this a little bit. I will say that we teach the women very much about biophilic principles and the idea of having nature around them consistently and the benefits of that, not only for themselves, but in the work environment and the home environment. And that's a big part of the wellness aspect of what we do, is really introducing them, some of whom have really never thought about nature or had their own plant, really introducing them to the benefits of that, and how that can change their outlook and their efficiency and their creativity and their ability. Okay, we'll go to the next. All of our women have found a job within 6 months of going through leaving us after our training and resettlement program, and 100% have gone into safe and secure housing as well immediately upon release. There was a time where women from prison would have been given a tent and a sleeping bag when they were released, and that doesn't occur at the moment. But there is a massive housing shortage, and there's a real struggle for women to find a place to live. Sometimes that means they have to stay in prison longer, and sometimes that means they do get released homeless, and sometimes that means they go into housing situations that are not right for them. They're not safe, they're not secure, they're exposed to things that if they are vulnerable, that might not lead to a good situation. So we make sure that doesn't happen. We have in our impact, we kind of talk about not only the women that come through our program, but the family members and the communities that we support through this. And we have a lot of really moving feedback from children, partners, mothers, who basically talk about how having this project for the women has basically allowed them to really land on their feet quite quickly and not have so much of a process of resettlement when they get out. And that really benefits not only the women, but also the people around them. We have had no reoffending at this point, which is great. I think that's, very good statistics. And I don't know how long that will last, but we hope that it will be like that for a long time. Okay, next service. So the training and the services. So I'll talk a little bit about the products that we send out as corporate gifts and that we sell in our shop. We have a shop in Cranbrook and Kent, and we're hoping to open another one. The shop and the shipping facility where we work really gives us an opportunity to employ more women and give them a living wage while they work for us. So we're all of our decisions are based basically on the impact we can make for the women, followed by the business decision. So whilst shops sometimes aren't the most financially lucrative, it does give us an opportunity to provide more employment and to pay a living wage to them so they can start saving for their release. So whilst they're with us, you can see in that picture there, that's our shop. So there's a wide variety of plants that they're learning about and taking care of. And they also have to basically tell people about them. So whilst they're in the shop, they teach people who come in, and they give advice on maintaining those house plants, repotting them, propagating them, and keeping them alive. And they also then pot them and prepare them for sale, and they wrap them, as you can see in that picture as well. And they write all of the information about the plants. So they're responsible for doing all the research on the plants we sell, and writing the care labels for those, which is great. They handle all the shipping, from dealing with the Royal Mail to doing the labels and organizing the pickups and boxing and packaging. We have very little breakage because they are extremely careful with the plants. I think one of the benefits of our program generally, not only in the nurture, growing and sending them out, but also in their work in the maintenance and installation, is they have such a strong care for the plants. They become very attached to them, and they feel very responsible for them, which is maybe something that sets us apart a little bit with the people that we work with, and that they are very invested in what they're doing, and they care about these plants at a really high level. So yeah, they handle all aspects of our work in the shop and in the shipping, and we're starting more and more for women to be more involved in the installation and maintenance, planning, design, proposal writing as well, which is great. And there's some different women have different objectives and different ability, but when we find someone that's interested in something, we really try to support that and help them kind of grow that skill, so that when they are out, they can hopefully find a job that will lead to something that they'll really enjoy and love. We started last year actually, doing workshops for corporates as well as clubs and groups, and that's been a really amazing thing for the women, to have them stand up in front of 10, 20 people and talk about the plants, to give advice on how to maintain them, on how to take care of them, and then to teach them about what goes in the compost, how to make the right compost for the different types of plants, and then also how to care for those plants, propagate them. They've loved that. And the feedback from the people there has been astounding. It's been really meaningful. The women usually talk about the benefits of horticulture and how it's changed their prison sentence. And then they also talk about their plans. And that's been kind of, talking about that with in that environment has been really positive. And it has really built, all of the women say that is a massive confidence booster to actually be the expert. They feel like they're the ones teaching and telling people about how to take care of these plants. And that's been a real, it's a benefit for the women as much as it is for the people that we go and do the workshops for. So every one of these workshops will pot one of the plants that's propagated in our facility, and then they'll take it with them and take it home. And usually they will have propagated plants as well. So they'll usually take a few plants with them. And they'll have that we have these handmade gray pots that we've sourced that really fall in line with our brand and our ethos, and they have one of those to take home as well. So that's been a really good, a good project for us. This is a quote from one of the women that went through our program, and we actually are lucky enough to employ 3 of the women who have gone through our program and left. They live in London, and so they help us with any maintenance work that we have. And they also help us with any speaking opportunities or training opportunities that we have with the women. They're kind of mentors for the women that are coming behind them. And that's been a really positive thing to keep some of the women involved and integrated into our program. In fact, one I'm about to meet today here in London, she's been helping with one of our clients. And she's going to take on a new role as one of our relationship managers. So when people request a workshop or they want to buy a larger plant and have it delivered, she will basically handle all aspects of that, from dealing with the client all the way through to delivery. And that's quite exciting that she's kind of been building up, and that's a really new, exciting skill for her to have as well. I would say the women generally wouldn't have this kind of support in prison if it weren't for us. And they're very clear that it's made a massive difference for them and their future. We do work alongside the leadership at the Ministry of Justice and the Prison Services very closely. We are going into 2 additional prisons this month. We're in Send. We're obviously well entrenched at HMP Sutton Park, and we're starting in the Glasshouses at HMP Downview and HMP Send, which are 2 women's prisons in Surrey. These are different environments. HMP Sutton Park is an open prison, and so we have automatic kind of use of their facility quite easily. And the women are on the verge of receiving day release, so they can come out. At HMP Downview and Send, we'll be working with a lot more women who are not quite ready for day release. So we'll be inside the prison a lot more, working with them. And then eventually, as they receive day release permission, then we'll start working with them outside. But that gives us a lot more time to work with them and to get them ready. And then usually within a year of their release, they'll have day release rights, and we'll start be able to work with them outside as well. But the Ministry of Justice is extremely supportive of our work and what we've done to date. And the actual prison, on the ground prison services, people are also supportive. And we've had very, recruitment has been very straightforward. We run the process very much like any job. We go in and we interview once, sometimes twice. People apply, and then we go in and interview. And then we do a short apprenticeship program just to make sure they're right fit and they work well and they're really dedicated to what we're doing. And that's about a week. And that system works really well. So we'll continue that without a doubt. I would like to say that we received, in order to open and to grow into Send and Downview, we received a postcode lottery innovation fund funding, which is great, half grant, half loan. So we will have to pay it back over 5 years. But it means that we hopefully will have more women coming in from those prisons, and we'll provide them more work in this new facility that we'll develop shortly, where we can really grow the business and grow the number of people that we can impact. And we also received a really lovely award from SEUK, a commendation. And in addition, we also received one other award, which isn't on here. I should have put it on here, an innovation award from CBRE, just for looking at the industry industry in a different way and thinking about how to apply it to a population that's in need. I worked with Kenneth and talked to Kenneth a lot about this, is what we'd really love to do. And what he has helped us do with Ambius, for instance, is to build relationships in the industry so that when we have a woman who is really talented and interested in staying within the horticulture installation and maintenance business, we would really love to be able to offer them to other companies that are leaders in this industry. And Ambius is basically guaranteed an interview for any woman that we put forward, which is amazing. And even just an interview is a really great experience for them. But it's such an amazing industry, and it's got so much promise, and so many good things are happening within it. And being around plants and working with people at the same time, it's very rare to find an industry that offers such really supportive work environment. And so it would be great for us to be able to introduce women to the industry that we train who would be appropriate to work for other companies as well. And obviously, we hope to be in every prison. We hope to start expanding into all the women's prisons in the UK, but that's probably a 5 to 10 year objective. We'd really like to be up north as well. There's some really wonderful women's prisons up there we hope to work in. So hopefully we'll be able, already we can provide women go home all over the country, but certainly more and more we hope to have a geographic spread of our workforce that we can offer to the industry as well. And I think that is all I have to say. I hope I've covered everything, and if there are any questions, I would love to answer them.
Very
Thank you.
interesting, Kelly.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Kelly, can you tell us about some of the different types of clients you have? Because I know sometimes we get a bit of I wouldn't say pushback, but questions raised about, you know, whether employing ex-offenders would work because of the sort of climate landscape.
Of course. Of course, yes. We certainly have had clients with concerns about that. For instance, we have a new client. Most of our clients are, can you hear me all right? Most of our clients are investment banks, to be honest, so far. And that is because I think they often have, we kind of check the ESG box for them and CSR. And so they've come to us. Most of them are not very large. They have anywhere between 10 and 20 plants. But some of them were worried about having our women there, especially unmonitored or checked. But usually we have the same woman or two who come to every client, and we have vetted them. The MOJ has vetted them, and we've really made sure that they're work ready in that environment. We also check in with them on a regular basis, but our clients thus far have found that they're really happy for them to even go into the trading room unmonitored and unwatched. So I think because they really do, we do have a consistency there, and also I think once the client gets to know and see what the woman is doing, I think they can see that there isn't a great deal of there's not too much to worry about, I guess. They don't have to be concerned. And we also, at the moment, only work during business hours. So usually there are people in the environment as well. We just haven't had a client want us out of business hours. And we would think about that, but we're much more comfortable working within business hours. With the prison service. Yeah. I mean, I will say that by the time they get to be employed and doing maintenance work like that, we usually will have known them for a year or more, and we'll have worked with them intensively, and are in constant contact with them ourselves. And so I think that we ensure they're very trustworthy and loyal and dependable. And I think we want to build good relationships within the industry as well, and would only offer people that we really believe in.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
So is there a particular area that you are looking at placing women at the moment, or is it UK wide?
So at the moment, we have women going back to Essex, and we have, I mean, it's kind of, you generally it's UK wide because we're only working with about 10 women at a time. It's not massive numbers, but for instance, we have certainly one woman who's just joined us and will be going back to Manchester. We would not be able to offer her any sort of employment, so we'll be looking for employment for her in the Manchester area eventually. And it would be great if someone in the if within the industry were interested in that kind of thing. But yeah, so it's all over the UK really where they would go. But again, we're growing our numbers, but at the moment it's quite, 10 to 20 a year maximum.
Right, so it is long-term project really. That should grow
Yes,
and
absolutely.
grow. Okay.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't know if there are any other questions.
I just wanted to say, Callie, that was really good overview of things. I know we've caught up before with different
Yes.
things as well, but just to sit there and go through it as well, it's really interesting. And as you know, any candidates that you do have that we're happy enough to interview if we've got vacancies in the areas and stuff as well. So yeah,
Thank you.
thank
I
you.
know you interviewed one of the women recently, and I think
I did.
I did. I think one learning from that is I think that when a lot of the jobs that you have, often they go away for training and they're quite intense, and I think probably a bit of time after prison they might want to be home a little bit before they do that.
I think
So that's a
they were
learning
looking
I
for
learned.
more of a they were looking for more of a part-time role rather than a full-time role. But yeah, the interview was fantastic. Got the knowledge and experience there as well. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, but that was really good.
Thank you.
I
Thank
did have my
you.
camera off when you're doing it. I was trying to eat some lunch before I run out to an appointment, but it's fantastic. Really good to sit and go through that as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Thank you. I thought that was inspiring. It always is.
Thank you, Kenneth.
I say the women that I've met on the project are genuinely really nice, really motivated people. I think it's almost a very well selected group of people who will be well suited to our world of work. But no, it's great to see them. And of course, they have interesting troubled lives, but you wouldn't know that because they're very, very professional people. I mean, the work I've seen has been good and so keen to ask questions and do a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I would say if any of your members are interested in starting a discussion and opening up a relationship, we would love to do that. And Maria Love, our head of social impact, will be managing those relationships and would love to hear from any members.
Brilliant.
All right. Callie, do you have any more information about the workshops and if we wanted to help support that? And
Absolutely.
Also the shop, be interested in that as well, to be honest.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can I'll send something over, I'll share it. And then maybe it can go with the slides and the other information that you have.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.